Welcome to another episode of Is It Really True? My name is Kal Korff and I'm your host. Folks, this show is really simple. What we do is we examine a claim, whether it covers everything from politics to the paranormal, and we tell you whether it is really true. One of the things we also do for you is something other shows do not, which is that we give you enough information so that you can independently verify the data for yourselves. One of the greatest things about facts is that anybody can independently check them if they really try. This is inherent in the nature of facts. So this is what Is It Really True about? And today's subject, we're going to talk about UFOs, ancient astronauts, ancient aliens, and expose a hoax that has been on the internet for several years now that has gone viral only because people don't think critically. For years now, there's been a video circulating on the internet, spread mostly by UFO conspiracy nuts and people who believe the end of the world is coming, or that religious events are going to take over the world. Name your faith. It could be Hinduism, could be Christianity. This video shows what are supposed to be American military personnel, specifically Marines, on patrol in Afghanistan, and they come to the entrance of a cave. They enter this cave, and supposedly hidden away inside it for some 5,000 years, if you believe the reports, and you would be wise not to, they found what is called a Vimana. A Vimana is an old Sanskrit term for what basically is a flying palace. Today we would call that a flying saucer. So once again, the report and the video supposedly shows 8 soldiers, and you don't see all 8 in the video, you only see a few of them, approaching a cave in Afghanistan. According to promoters of the footage, they go inside the cave and they find this ancient 5,000-year-old Vimana, and they of course have disappeared. Where did the soldiers go? Well, according to people who spread this myth, they disappeared in what they call a time well. You can't make this stuff up, folks. This is something even Hollywood wouldn't touch. But yet this video and this false claim, this hoax, went viral on the internet, as hoaxes and bogus claims tend to do. And what we're going to do now here on Is It Really True is we're going to expose it as an internet hoax and fraud. We will even identify the individual who seems to be behind it. And when you see what this person has done in other instances, you can be forgiven if you're a little bit shocked. The story started to hit the internet on December 21st, 2010, with the publication of an article online called "World Leaders Flock to Afghanistan After Mysterious, quote, time well, unquote, discovered." The author of this article is a person who calls themselves Sorcha Fall, Sorchafal, and it says, "and as reported to her Western subscribers." Now, the report is rather bizarre because it says, and this is the actual text from it, "A peculiar report prepared for Prime Minister Putin by Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, SVR, circulating in the Kremlin today, states that German Chancellor Angela Merkel has become the latest in a growing line of Western leaders to make a surprise visit to Afghanistan this month, and follows visits by the United States President Obama on December 3rd, British Prime Minister David Cameron on December 7th, and French President Nicolas Sarkozy on December 8th. Only Sarkozy's trip, this report says, was concealed, as he was already in India on a state visit when rushed, quote unquote, by U.S. military aircraft to the Afghan war zone. Then this so-called Sorcha Fall writes, "What caused the sudden rush of these most powerful leaders of the Western world to go to Afghanistan," this report continues, "was to directly view the discovery by U.S. military scientists," well, now it's scientists, it's no longer Marines, "of what is described as a Vimana entrapped in a time well, that has already caused the disappearance, quote unquote, of at least 8 American soldiers trying to remove it from the cave. It has been hidden for the past estimated 5,000 years. Of course, the information is not provided as to who proves or has the evidence that it is 5,000 years old. Then there was footage released that supposedly proved this report, and the fact is, all of this entire story is a hoax. Let's now dissect what the people behind it are claiming and show how this is outright suspicious. The first clue is that the story itself seems to have originated on a website called whatdoesitmean.com. This website bills itself as the world's largest English language news service with over 500 articles updated daily. Well, this claim is pure nonsense. We would argue that mainstream news websites like the New York Times, the Washington Post, name your major newspaper, they always publish a lot more articles than just 500. In fact, if you look at their page here, as you can see, it's not even full. Then there's the contents of the pages themselves. You can see here that it's rather questionable integrity-wise. For example, it says Dirty, Filthy Christians, a treatise on the most dangerous death cult in human history. That's a rather curious article, disguised as news. Then another one by Sorcha Fall says, Battle begins for the throne of this world, the return of the Einherjar warriors. Then there's another article, Pick Up the Pieces, a practical guide for surviving economic crashes, internal unrest, and military suppression, again by this Sorcha Fall. This same individual talks about gasoline prices and how they'll rise by 500%. That's nonsense. Ask yourself how high your cost of gas or petrol has gone up in the last several years. For most people in the world, the price has gone down because for years now there's been a glut of oil on the market, thanks mostly to fracking technology in the United States, which has driven prices down. In fact, the United States of America in 2015 actually became the world's largest oil supplier, surpassing the Saudis. So this claim is pure nonsense. Then other articles talk about the true knowledge of the 3 minds, when the 3 become 1. Then there's other ones, Partisan's Handbook, the Essential Survival Guide for Resisting Foreign Military Occupation, Escape and Evasion Techniques, Surviving Interrogation, Facing Execution, Wilderness Survival, and just a bunch of other paranoid hooey. Yes, folks, this is the source of this bizarre story, and as these few samples prove, there is absolutely no reason to take any of this seriously. Yet UFO conspiracy nuts and other paranoid types and those who are into the paranormal and the mythology of the occult, they believe this nonsense and have been fooled accordingly. As we said earlier, Sorcha Fall appears to be the source of this hoax. Sorcha Fall, however, is not a real person. Instead, his name is David Booth. He is a well-known internet hoaxer, and if you look at some of the latest scams or frauds that he has pulled on the internet, they include the recent report that the person who leaked Hillary Clinton's medical records was found dead. Then there was a recent report that Democratic National Committee worker Seth Conrad Rich was gunned down on his way to meet the FBI. This is some of the tomfoolery or hoaxing or fraud stories that this Sorcha Fall or David Booth has spread on the internet.